Muy sabor. Vamos a comprar Dr. Pepper. That's a shameless plug for them. They're not getting paid. I'm not getting paid. I just like to drink this stuff. I drank it so much that my Army folks said one day I should buy stock in that group. So I did. As a joke, bought 10 shares of Dr. Pepper stock. Way back when. Almost 40 years ago. Doubled my stock in a few years. Had to sell because Schweppes Bottling Company took it over. But hey, that's another story. Don't worry about that. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. How are you doing? Happy Monday. The first day of June 2026. One day left before we cast our ballots. The last day we can do that. Leo Naranjo IV here, candidate for governor in 2026 election. Chilling in my backyard. Got my little candidate t-shirt on. Yes, indeedy. This is the third and final installment on the Steve Hilton debacle. Maybe should have put these out a little earlier. But hey, never too late, right? Talked about Steve a little bit. Talked about Carl DeMaio a little bit. Talked about old Chad a little bit. Chad, he's a funny character. Steve is worse. Both of them are bad. 2023, I opened up the floor talking about I'm ready to run for governor, exploratory candidate, gonna feel my way through this shit, see where we can go. Oh, Leo, it's too early. What do you mean? Asketh I of the Republican establishment. What do you mean it's too early? Don't think that you understand the complications and the realizations of what we're facing in the state of California. We have, saith I, an opportunity here that has not been seen in decades. A loser of a governor getting ready to be thrown out of office because he's termed out. Gino Gavin Newsom. Slick Rick himself. In the concept of old England, 13th century, the king is dying. Now all the accolades are over there frothing at the mouth to see which portions of his empire they can acquire for themselves. Republicans, with a little bit of dash and daring, some new blood, some spirit behind them, a little bit of conviction, a little bit of honesty, a little bit of righteousness, and a little bit of fight, has an opportunity to unscramble this state. Saith I. Well, it's too early. We don't care about that right now. 2023, the middle of that year, Democrats had 4 candidates putting their name in the hat. End of that year. Hey, I'm trying to run for governor. Here's what's going on. All you need. This is what we can do. This is how we can impact. This is how we can change the state. You might even actually get 2 people in the jungle primaries if you push the right ones. Saith I. Republican Party comments? It's Christmas time. We're not interested in that. Celebrations, end of the year. Our calendar's already full. We're not taking conversation pieces. It's too soon, too early. We're not interested. What the hell is going on with you guys? Democrats by that time now have 8 candidates with their hat in the ring. Oh, and they already had 3 debates. They're forging the sword. We're still looking at the field to figure out if we can even dig out the ore. Mid-2024, hey, what's going on? Oh, we got Chad Bianco. Chad Bianco? Who the hell's Chad Bianco? Oh, he's that guy that sat in his car caused a big controversy, talking about we need to elect a felon and put him in the presidency. The claim to fame. You're going to try and run a sheriff of Riverside County for the governorship of California. You're joking, right? No, Lil, he's a sheriff. He's a good guy. Well, I'm running against him, so, okay. Well, we don't know you. Well, yeah, if you start setting me up to get to know me, you would know me, and you will see we can have a contrast, and there's a big difference between him and I. No, you're not famous. You don't have no money. We don't know you. (2024), there's now about 12 Democrats on the ballot. They've already had about 5 or 6 debates, and we're still trying to figure out who the hell we're getting ready to support to run for governor. Okay. End of that year. Oh, we're not worried about that. It's no big deal. We're not having conversations. We're not fielding candidates yet. We're not doing a lot of things because it's not on our radar to do that. Dude, the Democrats nearly have 20 people on with their hat in the ring. They've already had almost 8 to 10 damn debates. We haven't had any yet. What is going on in the Republican Party? It's not what we're important right now. It's not important to us right now. We're not looking at that. What the hell is happening to our party when they move at the speed of dead? And then you wonder why the Democrats beat our ass consistently? That's why. Get the opportunity to speak at a few groups. Before I started the speaking, I looked at the crowd. There's a lot of elderly people in the Republican Party. But you could see in their eyes the spirit of what they held inside of them. Oh, well, another speech. Rah, rah. The zeal, the energy was sapped. In a sense, the spirit was broken. Not crushed, broken. They've heard it before. They've seen it before. It's no big deal. Oh, another energetic guy. For the few people that I got to spoke with early on in the beginning, as soon as I spoke, the room altered. Holy shit. Who is this guy? Why haven't we heard about you? Where are you coming? I like his idea. Wow, let's listen. Let's pay attention. But it was what I said from the beginning. Have fight. Be forthright. Have a concept of what you want on your platform. Convinced and convicted in it. Inspire other folks to follow you, and you can take this state as a Republican. But party leadership, they don't want that. Party leadership wants you to step up so they can see what they're looking at, and if you don't fit what they're looking for, they cut you off at the quick. No, you don't need to run for that. You need to run for this. You need to run for what we tell you to run for, not what you want to run for. You can't win here. Maybe you can win there. Oh, we'll support you. Bullshit. If you're from that group and you're friends with everybody in that group, oh, you got backing for days. But if you're an outsider, or they think you're an outsider, or they don't like you, you're done. You have to have a paid consultant, or you're done. You don't have a consultant, they don't want to talk to you. And in order to get a consultant, again, let me give a little bit of props to Mr. Mercury for finding that out. They want money up front. But some of us already know this. Consultants are paid individuals with an opinion to try and get you elected. The problem is they don't care whether you win or lose. They're going to get paid regardless. And they're going to get paid. And the question is whether they're going to actually work towards your benefit or work opposite to your benefit. Entails a little trust on both sides. Because once you sign on the dotted line, now you're on the hook for whatever the contract obligations are. Well, that's an issue. Because I could hire you, but if your ass isn't performing, I want to fire you. Now I got to pay you off for the amount of money that you didn't even work for? That's the consulting class. And it's a big game in the party. Now by mid-2025, oh, you got the panic of Prop 50. Nobody was worried about the governor's race because we're worried about the lines being redrawn in California in the districts, the assembly districts, and every other district, the congressional districts. Now we're worried about that. The Dems are surging forward with their plans on putting somebody into the governor's race and the governor's office. Close to 20 people. 10, 15 debates. They're doing everything they need to forge out their candidates to see who they're going to back. And the Republicans still have their fingers up their ass trying to figure out what to do next. Chad Bianco started. But there was rumblings because he wasn't favored. Next thing you know, they were begging for Mel Gibson to show up. I put a comment out there about that with Mel Gibson. That'd be the dumbest thing the party could do. They'll rape him in an election process. Mel Gibson, God bless the gentleman. I reached out trying to get support from that man too. Nah, I'm not rich and famous, so he didn't return my calls. But the funny thing about Mel Gibson is he'd have never made it as a candidate. I don't give a damn how happy, lucky, or famous he was. Because Mel Gibson had a little racial problem in his background. Dropping the N-word in connection with the R-word against a woman that he defined with the C word that also happened to be his daughter. He'd have never got him into the primary, much less past the primary. But thankfully, Mel Gibson dropped because he was making a movie at the time. We gotta get James Woods. There we go, James Woods. Yes, we're gonna get James Woods. James Woods gets thrown out there. But I thought it was Bianco. Anyway, James Woods gets thrown out there, and next thing you know, people are nutting all over themselves about him. But he's got some dirty background too. It goes along with the racial divide. Well, you're going to drop about a third of the electorate with those folks. That's a huge population in LA and Oakland. I'm talking about the African American vote. James Woods has made some statements towards those communities that are very unflattering. And he bowed out. Meanwhile, Kim Yater, take your power back. Hi, Kim. Has done a political forum and captured Mr. Bianco, myself, and Leo Zaki, my counterpart. Hey, Leo. And showed the cracks of the esteemed sheriff on how bad he was going to be as a candidate. Because you start pressing him about BLMs, oh, Sheriff Chad gets testy. You start pressing him about his budget, Sheriff Chad gets testy. You start pressing him, period, Sheriff Chad gets testy. And what looked like I'm a candidate, I'm the sheriff, don't question me, just do what I say because that's what I said. When she broke that first 15-minute mold and started hitting him with situations, Sheriff Chad wanted to be anywhere but on that forum with Kim Yater. The first cracks Shortly after that, you barely saw Sheriff Chad anywhere. He wouldn't show up to a debate, to a forum. He was always conflicting schedules prevent him from doing X, Y, and Z. He was hiding, and they were shielding him from scrutiny. Now, the few places he did get caught at did not end well when they started pressing him about his BLM activities. Sheriff Chad doing what he does, come out swinging and making boneheaded statements. Then the interviews started coming out. I'm for amnesty. No, I'm not for amnesty. I'm for pathways to citizenship, which is the same fucking thing. Pardon my French. Pretend all you want, sir. Amnesty is amnesty. Pathways to citizenship lead to amnesty. Now you're caught by the electorate making those boneheaded statements. And the one that I thought was most humorous was the one that you had the first time out with Kim Yeater. I'm the only guy that can win. Everybody knows it. They know it. You know it. Mr. Naranjo, Mr. Zaki, all the other candidates know I'm the only guy that can win. Unless Mel Gibson comes in, then I have to reconsider my run. Sometimes it's the boneheaded shit people say that make you look at them, are you really there or are you really not there? You just said you were the only guy that could win. However, if Mel Gibson jumps in, you would have to reconsider your run. Then that tells me you were not the only guy that could win. You weren't even sure of yourself beating out Mel Gibson. When it was rumored Kamala Harris was going to jump into the race, oh my God, you and Hilton damn near shit yourselves. I'm jumping up and down for joy. Woo! Do you know how easy it's going to be to crush her on a debate stage? Leo, you're just a zealot and you don't know any better. No, I'm not a zealot and I don't know any better. I knew exactly what I was asking for. The opportunity to be on the debate stage with Kamala Harris to crush what was left of her political image. In a presidential race, you dropped out the day before the first ballot was cast? That speaks volumes about what you are. Take the loss, but you don't quit like that. And you did. We're not even going on with the other boneheaded crap you did, and that's before we start getting into history of how you pooched California, too. But Chad was scared. Hilton was scared. And if you remember, Hilton was pissed off because he couldn't get on Gino Gavin's podcast. He's having temper tantrums about that. He won't let me sit down there and have a conversation with him. I'm upset. I'm Steve Hilton from Fox News. What the hell's going on here? Gino didn't need to put you on his podcast. Gino didn't give two rats about your ass. Everybody seemed to understand that except you, Mr. Hilton. Because you're too stupid to figure out how dumb you are. Gino's podcast was not to highlight you, it was to highlight him. And if you couldn't figure that out, then you're an idiot. You want to have a debate with Gino Gavin. You're the only guy that wanted to debate Gino Gavin. There was nothing to say to Gino Gavin. There was nothing to ask him. There was nothing to learn from him. Look at this state, sir. Nearly 8 years of Gino Gavin. What is there to learn other than how not to be a total failure like that asshole was? Pardon my French. But you're nutting all over yourself because he wouldn't give you a conversation. The only thing, if I were elected governor, that I would have in conversation with Gino is hand me the keys and get the hell out of my building. That's it. Sign what you need to sign, turn over what you need to turn over, introduce whoever you want to introduce, that's fine and dandy, but you need to get the hell out of my office and my building. You're lucky you're not being escorted in cuffs for what you've done to this state, which to me is criminal. But that's just me. We had a gap. when they couldn't figure out what they wanted, and then they found Hilton. Oh, Hilton. Steve Hilton, Fox News. Hi, Fox News. That's the only thing he has is Fox News. Look at the color of the banners of Fox News. It is the same thing that Steve's got on his golden showers ticket crap. We run campaigns in America. They run slates in Europe. What does he bring over here? The slate. David Serpa's stupid ass. He's running a slate. Trying to get all that together because Serpa's looking for a job. Serpa got called out. California Patriot Project Group. Gentleman named Paul running that conglomeration of individuals. Serpa caught blasting out there that he was a socialist. Oh my God, that just killed your political career in California. Now he's moved to a nationalist, kind of close to the white nationalist that he got caught pretending to be, or got caught being. He was all anti-Hilton for a long time in the beginning. He looked like a machine gunner going off with his machine guns, and then he stopped. Poof! Next thing you know, he's kissing the man's ass. Now, I don't know about you folks. You could say the same thing about Marco Rubio and Donald Trump. Yeah, you could. And if you do say that same thing, look where they're at today. Now we go back to Serpa and Hilton. Where were they? And look where they're at today at that time. Let me back up a little bit. Because suddenly, Serpa's apologetic and Steve Hilton walks on water. That's his best bud. I took a half-ass swipe at Steve Hilton, not really wanting to get into it deep and steady with him. It hasn't even gotten my full-blown attention yet. And Serpa crawls out of the woodwork and nail-deep drops dead onto my ass and wants to mix it up. So using that vernacular, he goes combat veteran on me. Well, Slick, I think you learned two can play that game. Because I went right back knee-deep into your happy ass, too. Which is why you put me on block, the little bitch move that you pulled. Wrong guy. Nice try. But you forgot some of the things that happened. I had to pry those same people off your back when they had you in tears at the California Patriot Project on a forum they invited you to go into, and then they literally took you apart. And I got people to come off and save your ass from getting hamstrung. Once you said socialist, oh, we're done with your ass. Nothing to do with you. Not a socialist. Andrew Yang is one of your favorites. You felt more akin to the people you were shooting than the degenerates giving you the orders to shoot them. We're talking about you in Afghanistan or Iraq killing terrorists, and you're feeling some sort of way for them? What the hell was all that about? That's almost a pacifist. But you're a dangerous type. Then there's the invite to go to a GOP forum. Hilton's not there, Bianco's not there, and I got the indication that was an ambush forum. That was set up looking for somebody to be present to take him out, if not take him down, and I thought it was me, and I declined. You boldly want to make the statement, nobody invited my ass? Okay, that's fine. Either way, if I had been invited, I still would have declined. I saved you people the problems by saying out early, I'm not going to that. No way. Warned a few other people not to go to that. Thankfully, they took it upon themselves to go anyway. Okay. But don't forget this is going to happen. And what happened happened. You went anti-Israel on a young lady that is pro-Israel. Caused another candidate to come out of his skin and defend the position from the Christian point of view. And then you suffered the consequences for that. You weren't an American First candidate. You were American First KKK missing the bed sheets type candidate. You were the type of individual we've already dealt with back in the 50s and the 60s in New Skin. Called that one out early as well. Sounded good, looked good, but then you start listening to the background. Ooh, you were dangerous, erratic. Shit, Carl DeMaio called you batshit crazy. Well, actually, no, he just called you crazy. I included the word batshit. We've seen that video too. Hell, you provided the video, sir. You went from congressman run to lieutenant governor run to governor run. And then by your own admission, Steve Hilton asked you to run for treasurer, claiming, according to you, that he would back you. You bowed out of the governor's race to go into the treasurer's race, and then you got pissed when Miss Hawks showed up to contest. And according to you, you made a few calls to find out how to get her out of the race, and Steve Hilton balked because his friend Carl DeMaio put her there. Carl DeMaio was backing Steve Hilton, which is now why David Serpa is suddenly balls to the wall with Chad Bianco. Amazing transformation. You don't know what race you want to be in. Somebody asked you to drop out, and you did. And then you got pissed when they backstabbed you after you dropped out. Obviously, you haven't worked in government before to understand how that works. You got tanked at the convention, and now you're stumping for Chad. To the point that I let Mrs. Chad know that you're a socialist white nationalist pretending to be a nationalist, and you are bad business if they're running neck and neck with you. She let me know they're aware, and thank you for telling us. David Collenberg, oh, he confessed that he was running a slate with you. Oh, Mr. Collenberg, I hope you keep him at a very far distance. That is a dangerous individual. You tried to start some shit with me at the convention, and I just politely buffed you off and said, no, thank you. Go about your business. Leave me the hell alone. And then you went into the name-calling thing again, like the little bitch that you are. But I get it. That's what you do. Combat Marine, you're all this and you're all that. Let me remind you something, dude. You stand way above me. Way taller than I am. I'll give you that. But I'm from that era as well. You might have been in combat. We had to train up for the combat. But let me tell you what'll happen when I got a 7-foot guy standing in front of me, eye level. That's my definition of danger zone. We're going to remove that threat. We'll ask and answer questions later. That's what you brought to the table. And then it looks like you sent your family members after me too? What the hell? Really? Serpa? He sent mom after me? Wow, okay. So now you're anti-Hilton. The Hilton people got a few individuals that got swarmed into your camp. I've done the background, I've done the research, I did this, I did that. He's the greatest candidate. If you got buffaloed to believe the bullshit this man sold you, I get it. God bless your young heart for not knowing any better. But when you come out swinging, Chad needs to drop out because you either got bought and paid for or you're biting into the bullshit rhetoric. Jumping in the political game, try not to be as naive as you're showing. Because you just got played. And hiding on the internet under the guise of I'm a kid when you're playing in the real world of adults is not a good look. And using the same template, oh, he's erratic, he's this, he's that, block and report because is not a good look either. Like the woman crying rape after she pretty much puts herself out at the club, excuse me, and then gets what she asked for. Or she gets with a guy and doesn't get what she wants, and then she uses that template against the male by yelling rape. The problem we have today when women do it and why there's such a eyebrow-raising moment. Really? Are you sure? And there's doubt because of the doubt that's been instilled with that concept. I don't care who you voted for. Just be wise when you picked who you voted for. And you weren't. Now you got a congressional Congress, pardon me. Now you got a congressional candidate pointing out the error of your ways. Is he erratic too? Is he a psycho too? Well, I don't know. Ask him. But he seems pretty upfront to not want to see Steve Hilton in charge of California. And far beyond me knowing anything else about Mr. Hilton not being able to run California, this was my first indication that he was not the one for California. The man's a Brit. Came from England. Was a British citizen. Became an American citizen. Held dual status. Nobody still knows his status as citizenship. Well, he said, I don't give a shit what he said, what's proven. Trust and verify. Ronald Reagan-esque. You want to trust his word, that's fine. Verify it by asking the British government, has he renounced, and you have accepted his renouncement of his citizenship status? Why has not anyone done that? Are you afraid? Are you scared to find out the truth? You put Republicans to the test. This one is for the Republican Assembly of Sacramento. You put Republicans to the test when you vet them out to run for office, but you're remiss in this guy? What offices have you held? Oh, that was the aide to the Prime Minister in England. No. The question is, what offices have you held? 0 is the answer. And in America, NA, not applicable. Have you won any type of election in America? No. Okay. Have you done anything in politics in America? No. Other than run for office now. You've been here as a citizen for 5 years. Let's go back in the history of the last 4 years. What have you done for California? Nothing that I see or have heard or have noticed. Did you pour into candidates to battle back anybody? Did you support Brian Dahle? Did you do anything pro-Republican in the 5 years you supposedly have lived in this state, if not longer? No. What's your stance on abortion? Oh, I'm pro-life. I think we should lean pro-life. We should get more women pregnant so they can have life, and we should be sanctimoniously cherishing life. But yet you're pro-abortion. Your own statements say it, that you are. You gutted maternity leave in England so that you could fix a financial problem. Well, that's kind of something that might want to be known here in California. Maternity leave is on the table if we're in a financial pinch, eh? But that's your solution because you've never been in charge of anything. All you've been as a policymaker or an opinion person. I'm a director of policy. I'm a consultant. I'm an advisor to the king. You're the court jester to the crown. You're the court jester to the prime minister. Oh my God, let's not even bring up the contacts that they had with you and Epstein on that email and maybe some other ones that floated around. That unto itself is an issue that riles up the Dems. Who found this out? Somebody named O'Neill? Somebody named Cargile? Somebody name the other individuals on the X platform that have brought this stuff out about you? And this was early. We're not talking about it just now suddenly showing up. This was early on. You were a horrible candidate, but the party pushed you because you're Fox News. Senator Tony Strickland, I don't care what he does, he's from Fox News. That's why I'm voting for him. A sitting senator of California politics is voting for a man solely because he was a Fox News news host. We don't need voter ID in California. We need voter IQ tests in California. Today is the day before the final submission of ballots can go forth. Already hearing nonsense happening in LA. On the news today, balloting center ransacked, mail-in ballots getting burned. Not sure where, haven't seen the full news story, just catching the clips of the announcements. Spencer Pratt, guy out of nowhere, Palisades. House burnt up, now on a political tear in Los Angeles. Interesting enough, Spencer Pratt was not well liked when he started his campaign to run for mayor. Steve Hilton. Oh, I've created a Doge department. Another government agency in California, just what we need. Oh, I've created a Doge department to root out fraud, waste, and abuse. We're going to combat the fraud, waste, and abuse. You violated the sanctity of state workers by having them open up what's going on in their agencies to an outsider who has no political or legal standings to know or to receive the information that they gave you, which now puts their jobs at jeopardy. Now we're going to find out if somebody's going to demand that list from you and start culling those individuals out of state employment. Which, by the way, the union cannot save you from being terminated for breach of confidentiality. We're going to stop fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm Steve Hilton. But yet, Miss Prira Pratel hosts an online forum for you, Steve. And Miss Colati, the lipstick farmer down south, the no party preference candidate, you, for some weird reason, as a Republican, have been trying to include on a debate stage, which makes zero sense whatsoever, because Louis Herms, yeah, I plugged you, Lou. Louis Herms, not Hermes, Herms, is pretty much the known face of the NPPs here in the state, but you plugged in Elaine Colati, that she should be there. You're really starting to push her up for some weird goofy-ass reason, and you get caught in a forum with her making statements that undermine Spencer Pratt's campaign, the race for mayor in Los Angeles, with the implications of installing Rick Caruso, the mega wealthy guy, real estate, into the city manager position of Los Angeles. And she's working with Mayor Bass to push that so that you can X out Pratt and let Rahman and Bass compete. And Rahman's now associated with Karen Bass. Well, there's no competition there. And your comments to Miss Colati's bullshit was, let's take this offline and have a discussion about it, because it's the first time I heard of your proposal. It's listed on X, folks, because I turned that shit in to the election authorities that there's tampering potentially going on. That's the fraud. I didn't need a Department of Doge to see that. Title 18, USC Code 599 and 600. That's the potential of the fraud that you're getting ready to engage in. Some of you folks think that I'm not a serious person because I kind of clown around and I joke around a lot. I can tell you there are two people now that don't believe that shit at all. Steve Hilton and Elaine Colati. That report went up to the authorities, from the information I found out, to the FBI authorities back in April. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they called me back with a follow-up wanting more information on what I reported initially. More definitive information. And they got it. Some associates of mine, when I told them the story, suddenly rushed off the phone. I'll call you right back, but I gotta go now. And they kind of like seemed in a panic, but not the panic of blowing somebody off, the panic of we got to find out what this means. And next thing you know, I'm speaking to a lawyer that basically told me the FBI doesn't call you back unless there's something that they want to know, which means that there's something they want to know. Two weeks after that second call from the FBI office in Los Angeles, California, you don't see Steve Hilton pushing Elaine Colati to be on any other stage, much less by his side as an MPP candidate. What happened? We know what happened. You don't see Elaine Colati talking about usurping Spencer Pratt, slicing off the Palisades to be its own area, de-annexed, as she called it. I don't hear her pumping up Karen Bass as the moderate Republican and Democrat clothing that needs to be reinstalled above the ramen lady. No! Elaine Colati is now pushing Spencer Pratt, contacting his administrational office, his campaign staff, and now promoting him to be the mayor of LA. What happened? That's how you report fraud, waste, and abuse with impact. And a long time ago, Leo Zaki took a shot at Steve Hilton, and he did it on a weekend, and the radio host on the show that he did it on, the real one, came back on Monday and basically took Leo apart, made him look horrible in the public eye. But if you're going to throw a rock, make sure you know what you're aiming for. If you're going to take that shot, make sure it's a well-aimed shot. Something happened to them because they changed and altered their rhetoric. So, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow the polls close at 8 p.m. If you have yet to fill out a ballot, please do. Look over the candidates and see what they're about. You can go to my website, Naranjo IV, the number 4gov.com, and find out what I'm about. You see me online, see me on YouTube, you see me around, especially on the X platform. Vet the people who are running. Don't be the 51% that sit on their ass and make a lot of noise complaining, but do nothing to alter the situation. They did that at the last campaign cycle. Let's try not to do it this campaign cycle. Numbers are coming out, which is very distressing. I don't think there should be shit reporting of anything once the polls open, mail-in ballot, in-person ballot, or whatever. All that should be suppressed information. You don't need to know how many ballots were cast. You don't need to know what demographics have already voted. All you need to know is here's the day they opened, here's the day they closed. Now you can crunch those numbers to ad nauseum. But anything in between, like they're doing right now, is election tampering. You're pumping up or you're suppressing voter participation in doing that. You think it's informative, it's not. And I'm not for it at all. If you haven't voted, please, please, please consider casting a ballot. If you're a Republican that's pissed off at the choices that you see in front of you, do this to soothe your soul, your sensibilities, and your feelings, your emotions, whatever. Leo Naranjo IV. Cast your ballot for me, that man, that name, Leo Naranjo IV, on your ballot. Park that vote with me. so that you can say, at least I voted for a Republican. But it wasn't those two that I don't like, and I'm not going to just hold my nose and pick the lesser of two piles of defecation. He's not going to win anyway, so who cares, right? That's the excuse, right? Get enough people to do that, we'll turn California around. You can do that. If you're a no-party preference candidate, if you're somebody that doesn't have anything better else to do, park your vote on Leo Naranjo IV, governor candidate in California 2026. You want to give a middle finger to the establishment? Do that. That's a real huge middle finger you can give to the establishment. Don't let money spook you. Don't let fame, fortune, and influence spook you. Cut loose a fighter for this state. First and foremost, I'm running for the citizens of this state. I've kind of been cautioned that's going to turn off the pro-illegal immigrant crowd. So be it. If you want illegals here so badly, then shut the hell up about how much money is being drained from the system because of them. How much it's costing you to support them. If you're all gung-ho about supporting the citizens of other nations, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you need to check yourself and relook at your priorities. But if you don't mind standing at the back of the line while everybody else gets to cut in front of you, hey, that's on you. Candidates at this point in time have no bearing on what's getting ready to happen today and tomorrow. It's not up to us, folks. It's up to you, the voter. You are now the driver of this train. Where we're going is on you. Prosperity or poverty. It's that simple. It's not a scare tactic. It's not a fear-mongering thing. It is what it is. We're either going to have a prosperous state by putting somebody in there fighting to alter the crap we've been enduring, or we're going to have more of the same, which is going to lead us down to reckless financial issues. Worse than we already have now. I'm not going to say financial ruin. We're already ruined financially. Whoever you vote for someone. Vote for something. If I've done anything for this state, it should be to show regular Joe average individuals you can do whatever you set your heart and mind to do. The biggest impediment in life for you is yourself. And I think back to my days when I was a young 18-year-old scaling up that wall, scaling up that tower, where I didn't throw my leg over at the top ring because I didn't want to tumble 50 feet down to the ground. Kind of like that heavy metal movie, Full Metal Jacket movie at the end. Oh, you didn't get over the damn wall. Get the fuck off of my obstacle course. Yeah, I didn't make it over that wall either. I have a fear of heights, so that's a plus. But yeah, I didn't go over that. I look at that issue now. I look at that moment then when I was 18. Didn't even know if I was going to make it through basic training, much less the military period. And got to that point. But I look at where I'm at today. Everybody and their grandmother with money, influence, power, position, you call it whatever you want to call it, have stood in my way to be a candidate for governor on this slate, and yet my name is on that ballot. Obstacle course, I've done that 25 different ways under the sun today. I go back then with the knowledge that I have now, I'd have been an unstoppable MFer. Whoa, would I have been a dangerous creature. But God put me where He wanted me to be when He wanted me to be there. And my name's on that ballot. So my leg has already gone over the last rung on that tall tower that made me kind of hesitant in my youth, that I'm now not hesitant for with age. And you shouldn't be hesitate either. Don't let people tell you what you can't do. Don't let situations dictate what you can't achieve or acquire. You put your mind to it and it'll happen. You have to work a little harder at it, but at least you're working towards it. In the face of uncertainty, in the face of COVID, in the face of lockdowns, in the face of terroristic threats overseas, we plan, my wife and I, to go to Israel on a 2.5-week vacation with a religious group to walk down the same paths Jesus Christ walked back in biblical days. And in spite of all the roadblocks, in spite of a lot of uncertainties and doubts, we did it, and we enjoyed the hell out of that trip. And we took that trip. If you want California changed, you have to work for the change. You can't sit there on the sidelines casting dispersions and stones and comments and nasty whatevers. Praise yourself up and down of all the knowledge you have about the Constitution or anything else and do nothing with it. Biggest point of contention are the constitutionalists. If you're so right about the Constitution, you don't need a crowd to back you up. Stand in front of your boards or your judges or anybody else that you think you can alter and do just that. But I would also caution you folks who claim to be constitutionalists, that know the Constitution forward and backward, that can almost recite it verbatim, that can chastise people who don't know it as well as they do. You know the Constitution really good. That's man's law. Am I impressed that you're knowledgeable about man's law? Not in the least bit. When you can recite God's law forward and backwards as you do with the Constitution, and I'm talking about the Bible, then I'll be impressed. That's a motivational mofo right there that can do that. But how many can? Doesn't take a lot to fill out a ballot and put it in the mailbox. And if you trust somebody, let them carry it for you to the mailbox. But post office picks up at your box. You got to go there every day to check the mail. Put it in the box. Duh. You don't understand why we have crap candidates? Well, you got one here that stood up trying to fight the good fight to show you that there's a better way, and here's the way that we can fix this state. No BS, no punches pulled, no promises, no guarantees. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. And this is how it's going to get done and what's going to happen at the end. I didn't use promise or guarantee in my campaign because those are lies that we've heard for the last 30 years and accomplishments that never happened. Those folks that had faith enough in me to put me where I'm at today, God bless you and thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. It did mean a lot. It still does, because here I am on your support and encouragement and your backing. Everything is up to God, and He put those people in my path to encourage me to run. And I hope I did a good enough job for you. But I also want you to know that in the face of overwhelming odds, I entered the field of play till the end. Ain't no shame here. There's no ego to be bruised here. There's no loss of anything here. Because when I come off of this field, my integrity will still be intact. My soul will still be mine, and I will still be who I am. Many other people out there will not be able to say the same thing. God bless each and every one of you. My name is Leo Naranjo IV. Don't forget to cast your ballot. Leo Naranjo 4, gov.com. Leo Naranjo for Governor, California. Take care.